In Nigerian Port Authority, our vision is to be the leading port in Africa, and our mission is to deliver efficient port services in a safe, secure, customer-friendly environment.
Welcome to another edition of The Axis, where we examine the port as the axis of the nation's economy. On today's episode, we shall be examining issues and policies as it relates to port development and the maritime sector as a whole. So stay tuned.
In Nigerian Port Authority, our vision is to be the leading port in Africa, and our mission is to deliver efficient port services in a safe, secure, customer-friendly environment.
Our focus on today's episode is on the 24-hour operations at the nation's port. We examine the port's 24-hour operations, including public holidays, as well as the challenges and compliance level of the stakeholders. One of the giant strides taken by the federal government in order to achieve its objective of reforming and repositioning the Nigerian port, as well as making it a formidable hub port in the West African sub-region, was announcement of the 24-hour port operations system in 2011 by the Presidential Committee on Port Reforms headed by the Honorable Minister of Finance, Dr. Okonjo-Iweala.
The Nigerian Customs Service and all those who are working 9 to 5 in this port, henceforth are going to work 24 hours shift.
In order to achieve the mandate of the 24-hour port operations system, which port watchers believe will facilitate smooth and fast clearance of cargoes, various stakeholders within the Nigerian port system have been up and doing.
We have discovered that, especially the weekends and the days now, we are having a lot of people coming. Because of the insecurity of the nation, there's also that fear. We have not got the optimum we want. For the agencies, Custom, Nigerian Port Authority, other agencies, they are all the 100%, but the patronage by the clearing agents, everything, not all of them are coming up in the night first, but it has started. They are gaining confidence. It's increasing per week, so hopefully they will all buy into it. But I know the major issue is that security issue in the night is hampering some people from carrying their cargo. How
far have they gone in achieving the mandate of the 24-hour port operation system?
We have already started 24-hour operations. If you go to the gate, you see our people at any time of the day. Especially at the gate, people, most of these transport containers go at night because of the government police, that the traffic on the road. So 24 hours, you go to the gate, people walk there. If you go to scanning section, they scan containers 24 hours a day. So people walk there. We devise a system whereby we have shifts in all the places. Like places like the ANL, where you have the bulk cargo also. If you go there, you see people working 24 hours throughout the day, throughout the night.
The 24-hour operation should be clearly spelled out, because when you say 24 hours operations, you must bring in other factors like the banks. The banks are not part of it, and I was in Ghana. When they are talking about port operations, they must involve the banks, because the banks, it's one tool that is so important to kickstart the 24 hours operation. That's number one. Number two, the 24 hours operation have some security implication, because you cannot push out containers from the port, and the lightning system in the port. There's many things you cannot do. So I think the areas of 24 hours operation must be looked into critically.
In the port, activities go on. For us, for instance, I'm a terminal operator as well. I do night cargo transfer to my terminals. But you have to put a lot of logistics, a lot of security in place, knowing how the environment is today. Some people might not want to deploy that kind of logistics we put in place, and they may not want to take advantage of it because they look at the risk aspect of working at night. So that is an issue somebody has to be honest about and understand. It is working, but it naturally may not be everybody that would want to come out to do that kind of transaction at night. And we are saying too, it is more of finishing what was started in the day. After all, the banks don't work at night, shipping companies don't work at night. It is just the terminal operator that is open at night.
Since the objective of the 24-hour port operation system cannot be fully accomplished without synergy between various stakeholders of the port, what then has been the compliance level of various organs of the port?
The compliance level is okay, but the only problem is that at times you see, like for example in scanning they can work 24 hours, but at the releasing end, because no agent will come at midnight, at 2 a.m., 3 a.m. in the morning. So these are some of the issues, and even on weekends, because they have other social responsibilities that maybe like they may have weddings on Saturdays, they may have other issues, and at the same time also others go to church on Sundays. So during the weekend, and there's a low, really that's low responsibility.
The members, most of them are not even aware that there's a 24 hours operation, because this issue of 24 hours operation has been in the port for a very long time. But when you look at our security situation, nobody can, many of these things you cannot do. You cannot perform examination. If you can perform examination at night, you cannot take delivery at night. So, and a lot of people, even though the level of compliance is a little bit low, there's need for greater awareness, and there's need for government commitment, and there's need for agency interrelationship to be able to streamline and get things done properly so that these things can be done.
Given the nature of its development within Nigeria's port system, stakeholders have highlighted current challenges facing the accomplishment of 24 hours of smooth operations at the port.
The issue of power, which is a problem that is well known to everybody. Apart from the issue of the power, there is also the issue of security. So these are the two major issues that give us problems.
The state of security is not too encouraging, but the hope is there that the government is doing a lot, in that perspective, and so I don't think there's any cause for alarm.
The gridlock within the port environment within Lagos is creating a lot of problems. When you look at the 24 hours operation, it affects the movement inside and outside of the port, because you cannot access the port for now. It takes a lot of longer days, longer time, and a lot of cost and implication in terms of the whole operations. I think the whole operation should be overhauled, looking at the empty container process, looking at the port itself, how do you access the port, looking at the structure and the development of the port, and looking at the controls, and looking at the security lighting system in the port, and looking at the facilitation tools in the port, how these things can work. So the 24-hour operation for now have some small hiccups which must be looked into critically.
I think to solve a security problem is a thing that goes beyond the port. Security is along the way as you go, and the police are out there. It's not a custom issue. We're today having military helping the police keep the place safe and all that. But above all, I need to tell you that not until the Nigerian gets convinced that if I am on the road, I am not going to be molested, I'm not a target, nobody's going to hit me. Even the cargo today, people know that miscreants divert containers at will, they broach and steal. So it's possible that the driver who is going to take the cargo at night has to ask himself, if something happens, will the owner believe me? The agent who is going to take it at night, if anything happens to the cargo, what will he tell the consignee? So to him, even if the cargo exits the port, he might want to say, hold on, in the morning we'll go. Because it is, I know that most of the operators don't even have goods in transit insurance. When the goods you are carrying and it's not insured because the hauler you have taken has no good insurance, Would you want to put it at risk? No. And most organized transporters may equally not want to put their truck at risk at night. So there are a lot of issues. Not only security is there, but people need to be convinced that their exposure is minimal.
With government's will and determination to reduce the cost of doing business at the ports in Nigeria, decongest and facilitate fast clearance of cargo, reform and reposition the port system while enhancing its citizens' well-being, as well as make the nation's port system the hub port in West Africa, one can only wish that everything work out successfully as projected. So welcome back. This is the axis of the nation's economy.
Nigeria Maritime Expo, NIMAREX 2012, a 3-day annual international exhibition and conference. It's the largest gathering of maritime operators in Africa, holding from 13th to 15th March 2012 at the Expo Center, Eco Hotel and Suites, Victoria Island, Lagos. Special guest of honor, President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, Chief Host, Senator Idris Umar, Honorable Minister of Transport. In attendance will be top executives and key decision makers in the maritime industry from within and outside Nigeria, including Secretary General of the International Maritime Organization. Book your exhibition stand now or register for the conference at www.nimarex.org.ng or call Annie on 0803-487-8813 or Hannah on 0802-317-1702. NIMAREX 2012 is sponsored by the Federal Ministry of Transport, NPA, NIMASA, Nigerian Shippers Council, ISAN and Skybank. NIMAREX 2012, unlocking the potentials of the Nigerian maritime industry.
In Nigerian Ports Authority, our vision is to be the leading port in Africa, and our mission is to deliver efficient port services in a safe, secure, customer-friendly environment.
The Managing Director of Nigerian Ports Authority, NPA, Umar Suleiman, has said that the NPA will support Mr. Jean-Francois Odige-Owana in his bid to contest for the office of the Port Management Administration of West and Central Africa, PMAWCA Secretary General. Speaking while receiving a 3-man delegation from Cameroon in his office, the Managing Director, who was represented by the Executive Director, Engineering and Technical Services, Mr. Sani Nwobi, said, since lobbying is part of democracy, it is in order to have the delegation canvass support for their candidate. He added that NPA believes that the candidate is qualified to do the job because of his requisite experience in the port industry that spanned for about 3 decades.
And from what you have said and what he has also said about the number of years he's been in the industry, it shows that he has the wherewithal to carry out the assignments that are related to the office for which he's asking our support. And I think that with the experience and the knowledge of the industry that he has, I do not think we would keep back our support for him. So I believe that Nigerian Ports Authority and the industry in this country will want to support somebody that has the kind of experience that we have in the industry. And as such, we think we will give them our support.
Earlier, the leader of the Cameroonian delegation, who is also the General Manager of National Ports Authority, Cameroon, Mr. Yumba Josu, said that the purpose of their visit was to